Welcome to the Artist Loft, the talk show for all artists. Join us each show as we spotlight a variety of different creatives, hosted by the Florida Arts Network, with Richard Sossa and Frank A. Ruffolo.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on another episode of the Artist Loft with moi, Richard Sossa.
Frank Ruffolo, and
Frank.
our two surprise guests, Dawn Graubert and Freddy Santory, so they are here too.
Yes, I know. It's like there goes the neighborhood.
They are here also.
Yeah.
We are here. How you guys doing?
That's a that's a closed set joke.
Doing real well.
Can I ask a question? Can I stop? Can I ask a question? We were never invited on your show. You've been doing this show how long now?
You're on there now.
No,
Yeah.
but before that.
No.
6 months?
You're always
8 months?
like doing something during our show. We don't want to interrupt your work.
No, I always sat in the back and it says, and again, I missed the cut. I don't understand. I'm very happy to be here.
There you go. They're happy.
I
to
love
be
these
here.
guys.
Well, what we wanted to do was we wanted to kind of build up the audience a little bit before we had you on the show because you're more deserving of a wider viewership.
Well, you know, you should run for president because you can turn a pencil into a crayon, man. You are
That's why I
amazing.
wear boots.
Yeah, because boy, let me tell you, when I'm around, it gets deep.
It gets deep.
Yeah. But anyways, thanks for joining us. The Artist Loft is an arm of the Florida Arts Network. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We want to bring arts to kids, and we want to celebrate the artists that are already doing the stuff, right? And not just painters and stuff like this. Today, we've got some behind-the-scenes people, right? We're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to run a studio, right? Because I know it ain't easy.
So you don't have to talk about problems.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to discuss some of those issues, but yeah. So I think it'd be an interesting show.
You want to talk about the feel for the studio? You were up hanging and rechanging art today because the studio is like a person. Someone's describing a corporation to me today. A corporation is like a human being that you create. So our studio is like a being that we've created through music, through art, through the shows, through our hosts and our guests. Every part of it makes up the whole of what it is. It's the feel of when you walk beyond that front door of what you get in here in the creative space. I know there's other studios where you hang a green screen, you put up a podcast mic, and you can do it, and it's lovely. But
Yeah.
that's just not the sense of what we do. And you're all about vibration and colors and art and music.
Well, I love the fact that the Artist Loft, you know, you're an inspiration to what these kids can do. I mean, we have a sizzle reel that we saw, which I'm gonna tell you something is amazing. Two of the kids in here, three of the kids in here that are here tonight also worked on something for Angel Studios. I mean, what you're looking at that's going on here is exploding in every direction, but it's their creativity, is their push. Me pushing a hammer and a nail, that's easy, but it's what they do to make things come to life.
Yeah.
That's what I love about running a studio.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, there's so many kids. I mean, they're college age, right? But for me, they're still kids, right? Sorry, guys. They're great. I love these guys. There's so many kids that have so much creativity, so much talent, and they don't have a creative outlet, you know. And then you have a studio where they can come in and they can learn the biz, right? They can learn what it takes to run a studio, how to set up the camera, how to set up the lights, how to edit, how to promote, all this stuff that's part of running this living thing that you've got here.
And they get to feed that creativity here.
Yeah, every once in a while they have pizza and stuff like that.
Too.
So.
Yeah, first stop is the long table. Everyone who walks in here, whatever door they come through, they stop first at the long table and they see what's been offered for the day.
Yep.
But that's all part of it. It's all part of the creativity, the coffee, the special coffees, the drinks. You know, sometimes we'll sit down here with guests, and like it happened this week, and some of the stuff that's talked about is intense. You know, Frank has been here a couple of times during the week, and some of the things that we talk about, whether it's religion or God or it's just what's happening in the community, again, it's all part of the growth of this thing. And I gotta tip my hat to the two of you because you're persistent, you keep pushing to have artists in every direction come and talk to us. We've had a couple of their friends on our shows as well. And it's a tribute because you believe in what you do. And the only way to teach this business is by believing in what you do.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and we do believe in what we're doing, which is why we're always pushing. And we need help. We need you guys' help, right, in doing this. In the form of, you know, donations and, you know, time and everything else. And you guys really have been so supportive of what we're doing. It's incredible.
Well, we're trying even more stuff. What I would like to do, because Artist Loft really stands for the arts and the musics and everything that we do. So we have JC's concert coming up, and we have another one in Fort Lauderdale that we want to do. And I want to contribute I want the Artist Loft to be there so you can meet people, the numbers, so that you can explain what it is that you're trying to do to the general public.
Yeah.
I think that the problem is that people just don't understand how complicated what you're trying to accomplish, especially in Florida, is. I don't think they understand how difficult it is to make movies and artists and bringing kids. I see you work with high schools and everything else. So I like to do something where we do our connections at the different concerts. I want to have the Artist Loft there. In Miami, when we go down to Miami, I want to make sure you're not at work and come down there as well to bring in the jazz beat and the Latin beat from Miami at the other studio. Because he's Latino. I don't mind telling the people.
Dale, chico, dale.
I mean, it's a tribute that the only way we're all going to help one another is by pushing even harder and making things happen. So whatever we can do to help you guys, you know, we're all in.
Appreciate
That's what
that.
makes this place special. It's Dawn and Freddy.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for their guidance and their input,
We wouldn't even have the show.
this place would not be what it is.
Well, you guys should have been on the air a long time ago. You know, maybe then the message would have been heard like it's being heard now. And we just got to up the volume. We got to put it in different places, do more things. You have to do more public appearances, talk to people, seminars. I mean, the summer coming, I have some ideas that I want to do. And I spoke to Dawn about starting that new thing with the artists and the musicians. And we have a new kid that walked in today. I handed her a mic and says, hey, you're going to be doing interviews. And she looked at me, she says, okay.
You know, the interesting thing is, and you're helping kids as well, and a lot of our program has college and grad students. You can't go based, we talked about it on the morning show, on what a resume says. And that's the hardest thing. It can be the best resume. And like this one girl, her resume was spectacular. It had absolutely nothing to do with this field. And I always get torn. Do I call them all or don't I? What if I pass over that one? It's the guilt thing. If I pass over that one and that one is that needle in a haystack that I should have called. So I call every single resume. And this one has no media experience whatsoever. I mean, she's a vet tech and she goes to school out of state. And I thought she lived out of state. So all these red flags of why not to call. But I called anyway because in my head I thought you never know. And sure enough, she was graduating from out of state. She was moving back here to live with one of her parents. She wants to get into the field. She's always wanted to do this field.
And she wrote a book.
But didn't go to school for it. So you can't even go by their resumes because somewhere in a resume should say what you wish you could do with your life. But I don't know if regular job JOBs would even look at that. For us in the creative space, it makes a huge difference. She came in here and she says, I can do this and I can do that, but none of it's on her resume.
Yeah.
So if you go based on that, you would never know.
Yeah, no, I know we were looking for an intern to help us with our social media marketing and stuff like this because I mean, we can't afford to pay anybody yet. And I know that college students, they need certain number of hours and, you know, all this other stuff, right? And got this one resume from a young girl that does not do social media marketing, right? And I was like, you know what? I'll interview her anyway. right? And we brought her on, and she's going to be our graphic artist.
Nice.
So she's going to create the content,
That's great.
along with this other young lady that we got who is specializing in social media marketing. So yeah, you never know, who you can use. And when we talked to the two of them, they both love working with kids. And we're like, yes.
But it
Yeah.
just starts with one. I mean, our program here started out of necessity for me during Hurricane Maria when Freddie's mom passed away. And we were up in another studio, and we were moving that day into another studio. And all I knew was nothing about technology. Freddie always did all of it. I knew not even how to turn on a camera. And we had to start over. I mean, it was brand new for Floor Up. And from that moment on, I said to myself, you will never be in this position again. You have to learn everything. It may not be perfect, but I have to learn every single wire. And we've learned it. And from that point, it's grown, and it's grown to now it's a full program. We work with universities all over the United States, which is amazing. But it starts with just one. So you guys starting with just two, that's all you need to start.
Yeah.
We need to start.
Yeah, and we're really excited about it. We want to teach them stuff. They already started working on some content for a networking event that we're planning for June, right?
Right. And the potluck picnic we're going to have again in July.
Yeah.
They already
And
started.
so she sent me all these samples, and so I started looking at them. I was like, okay, this is good, but you might need to tweak this over here like this because you're dealing with this demographic and you're dealing with this, and use this
Like
kind
make
of
the font bigger so people like us can actually read them without glasses.
Yeah.
That's the funniest one, is they make the font and they go, why can't you see it? And Freddie will look at it, it has to be in the right color. And they say, we see it. He
It's
says,
red on
we
red. I
can't
can't
see it.
read
But it looks beautiful. So, right, you have to know your demographic, even vision.
Or yellow on
right?
yellow. I
Things
can't
that
read
you're
that
looking
either.
at.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the things. And I helped somebody get their master's in public relations and social media marketing, right? So I also picked up a lot of stuff while I was helping her, and yeah, know your audience. It's like a comedian, right? You got to know your audience. That's why a lot of times they have these test jokes. Jimmy Carr, he was at Hard Rock Live a couple of months ago, and he was like, I'm going to see if we're going to be friends.
Yeah, there's another friend for you.
Another friend. But you're right. You got to know your audience. You got to know your equipment. You got to know the nature of the beast of what you're trying to accomplish. So if you want to go in this direction, it has to work. One of the things we try to show in here is negotiating deals, making the right deal. Don't just make a deal to make a deal.
Right.
It has to be done correctly. And I think that what I like about what you guys do is that you teach people the right way of doing things, not the wrong way, for just the sake of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, I can't believe we're halfway through the show already. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back. I want to talk a little bit more about the proper way for making deals and that kind of thing. All right. We'll be back in a couple.
See you soon.
Frank A. Ruffolo, a renowned author and screenwriter known for his books such as 10048, Blue Falcon, Memoir of a Soldier, and his latest, Samuel of Sarah. Check out his website, frankaruffolo.com, for more info or purchase his books on Amazon.
What's up, everybody? This is Agent Romante, but most of you know me as Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de Rosa Ramirez from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I just wanted to give a shout out to my man Richard Sossa. He is one of the best acting coaches that I've had the pleasure to work with, and he's actually worked with me in my program for many years, and I highly recommend this guy. So if you have an opportunity to work with him, what are you waiting for? Now, get out of my face. Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de Rosa Ramirez. I am out.
we're back.
Yes, and we're back with Freddy and Dawn. All right.
No, it's Dawn and Freddy.
Dawn and Freddy.
You should know better than that. You screamed at me. Yes, I get yelled at a lot.
Dawn is actually the heart of the place. She's the nice one.
Wow.
Here we
I love
go.
you, man. I know. Here we go.
And it begins.
That's only because I send him his shows on time.
Yes.
Oh, is that the way it is?
That's it, yeah.
I see the message. I figure you were doing it.
Exactly.
Wow.
But Freddie makes the good coffee, so they balance out.
Make the good coffee. He doesn't drink my coffee. Now I know why.
drink coffee.
Now I know why.
Oh, could you see me after drinking your coffee? Do you really want to do that?
Wow. That would be a trip, yes.
I know, right? All right, so you touched on making deals, and I kind of want to spend a couple of minutes on that because artists they're very right-brained, right? They're all about the creativity and everything else, and so like they've got this ginormous right lobe, and then they've got this left lobe which is about that big, right? And don't know enough about the business aspect. And making deals is critical in any kind of business.
It's the lifeblood of the business.
Yeah, it is.
When I first met Dawn, I was putting deals together, and I said to her, there's a certain formula that I use. And I told her. That was 8 years ago. Now, I just do an idea. And like we did a network out of California that the shows are all over the country. 3 or 4 different shows all over the country. It's a real network. The only thing I did was put the idea about a network. Because it came to me, I wanted to, you should see the amount of intensity, paperwork, and everything that goes into this thing. And she does it. She sits there, and 3 days later, she came up with contracts, and she's talking to people, and the negotiations. Now, I know when to step out the way. This is all women. And I said, let me get out the way because I'll be like, I'll be like in a china cabinet. And they got it off, and they've been doing it this week. And it's tweaked a little bit here and there. But you want to negotiate a deal that's good for everybody. Not just you in the house, but it has to be fair to the house too. But they want to make it so that their message are heard out there. So you did it. I didn't even congratulate you for pulling that thing off.
Well, you helped me at the last minute fix the elements.
No, that's nothing. That's
But we got it out and done. We never had contracts, but as we've evolved in this business, you need contracts because people are people, and you need contracts. So, so that's been part of it, and growing it, and watching the crew put all the things together and the pieces together. But it's interesting because now we can actually, because of COVID and the business has changed, the industry has so changed. You used to have to be in a studio prior to COVID. We used to have to be at the radio station to send it to the radio station, or you needed this big brick box. Then COVID came, and within 24 hours, we were remote. We didn't have these capabilities before COVID to have the expansion that we have. Then you had to, and everybody had to. It was a great leveling ground for technology, which is the good. The bad is it's the great leveling ground for technology, and everyone's using their phone and no stabilizers, which is why we do what we do to keep this studio going. Otherwise, they don't get the opportunity to work in a working studio.
Yeah.
Everything's remote.
Yeah, and it's funny because I kind of miss doing in-person acting workshops and stuff like that, which is what I was doing before COVID. And then when it hit, all of a sudden, boom, I'm doing my acting classes over Zoom, right? Now, that did allow me to expand my base, right? Because now I had students from outside of the state of Florida. I had a couple of students from South Africa that were joining my class, which I thought was so cool, right? But there's just something about the in-person thing. I love coming. Yeah, we can do it remotely, but why?
It's like seeing a TV show or watching a ball game in real time, in real life.
Yeah.
It's two different worlds.
The
We
vibe is
even
totally
had a
different.
contact in Lebanon. Remember the
Yeah, we have a we have a
contact
contact
in
in
Lebanon.
Lebanon. You know, with drum. We were even considering at one point going to this thing that they were having, And they were like, you may not want to come. It's a little dangerous here right now.
Good warning.
But you guys have had such great guests. You had Alex Moreno on, and what he does, what they do for their day job, and what they do in the creative space is so different. We were talking yesterday about what he does for his day job. That's just unbelievable that this still has to be education for sexually transmitted diseases for our kids, for our youth, for our teens. Like, that is still, we're not covering it on our schools, and it takes outside resources. We're not covering, I mean, think about these kids that are not incarcerated because they're under 18, but they're in detention centers, and what they need to learn. And the fact that this is even a niche, and this is something we have to do, I mean, the good is that we have people like Alex that are helping them. The bad is, what is it saying about our society that this is what we have to do?
Well, they took out Dr. Seuss's books.
But, you know, Alex is doing some amazing
now.
things with kids. And Tinkerbell, Victims of Silent Crime, what she's doing for children whose parents have been incarcerated, because you can't forget about the kids. And if we don't give them the opportunity to shine as or become who they want to become, then we're doing them, our next generation, a disservice. And they're not getting it in the arts at school.
They're not.
They're gone. And if you can hear this and see this show, you should call these guys, and you should do your own programming and bring your voice to life. And we call it the Artist Loft TV network. And you should do the same thing we did in California, because sometimes being a guest is one thing, sponsoring a show is another. But if you have your own thoughts and you want to bring it on the Artist Loft, come on down. Let's talk a little bit. Let's find out what you guys, because these guys will work with you and they'll make it happen.
Let's make a deal.
And when you make it, but I'm going to tell you, make a good deal, because it's your idea, your creativity. We'll put the cameras and lights in place. The next thing you know, more people are hearing what you have to say, because it's important to you.
Absolutely. And thank you for that plug.
But I think it's important. I think people just don't realize how important it is what you guys bring to the table. They just think it's a show. It's more than a show. It's a message. And you know, when they don't see it, when they graduate and they come back and they keep coming back, that's when you see it, because you've helped them get there. And they understand.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes in the art world. I was talking to, I've actually had similar conversations with several people, but I was talking to somebody yesterday that thought that a film was shot sequentially. And I was like, no, you make a list of all the locations, you grab the first location, you film all the scenes that take place at that location, and then you break down and move to the next location, and they're like, and it's all out of order. I said, yep, and then the director and the script supervisor and the editor, they all get together. Okay, this is how it goes. This is the best take for this scene. Blah blah blah. Then the editor has to put it in order. Then he sends it to the colorist, and they have to do all the color correction. Send it back to the main editor. Then the editor has to send it for the sound score. That comes. No, it's insane.
It ain't checkers.
No, no, it is.
And people need to realize, you go to a movie and you watch a movie, and when it's over, you get up and you walk out. You need to sit there and look at the credits and realize how many people worked on that movie.
My gosh, yes.
It's hundreds.
Yes. And if you're in multiple locations, you know, you've got, you know, one unit here, and you've got another unit there, and another, and it all has to come together. It all has to come together.
It has to make sense. The sound has to be, you know how hard it is to carry sound. And it has to be equalized.
Yeah.
You can't have it go like this. Like, we've seen some movies. We've actually seen some movies together.
Where they're all up and down.
It's like, what happened here?
Yeah.
Because it's a science, you know.
Yeah. I've sat in theaters and watched a movie where a lengthy scene that takes place in the same room and the sound changes 2 or 3 times. It's like, wait, what's going on here? You know, and then so you need a good sound person, you need a good sound engineer. It's
when you go to the movies now, because I know this happened to her. She was saying, I go to the movies now, I'm not looking just at the movies. I'm looking about everything that it takes.
Looking at the shot. We were at a concert, right? And now, because like at the Hard Rock, they've got the cameras. And there was one concert which the camera work should have been far superior to what it was. I was surprised. I told you. And then I went to the Eagles, and the camera work was just spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, when you see different camera angles, and that's what to me, the music is secondary because now I'm looking
Yeah.
at the camera angles. I'm looking at the extra effects that they're
I
putting in.
I do that all the time. I watch a movie and I'm critiquing. Well, he shouldn't have said that. And this is that right? And why did
Oh,
he say it
yeah.
this way?
My kids get so upset with me, and they're like, "Dad, why don't you just watch the movie?"
I know.
You know, because I'm like, "Oh, I didn't like the lighting on that for that
know.
shot." You know, I didn't fire the gaffer. You know, like.
Or you
what's
could
going-
tell that they reshot it and it's not quite the same.
No, I
Yeah.
love is when her hair is different from one scene to the next.
Yes.
Like what? Totally different. Like curls versus straight, and you're thinking, isn't there a continuity director or someone looking at that?
I know, and they're supposed to have somebody.
They
to
pay
do
somebody a lot of
continuity.
money. I've seen one guy that does that. He's surrounded in a room with every angle you can think of, and he has to duplicate it when they do a reshoot.
Yep.
And it's his job.
When the director says, "All right, cut, everybody back to one," that means all the props, everything has to go back to the starting point. And
And I hate to cut you off, but we have to cut and go back to one. We're done.
oh my gosh, no, tell me it's not
Tell
so.
me it's not so.
No, you got 4 more
Oh, they're
minutes.
saying
I
you have
got
4 more minutes.
I got 4
4 more
more
minutes?
I think that was a
We got a
4.
reprieve?
we,
Giving
we
us a
started
4.
a little bit late.
Was that a 4?
Yeah.
Spider-Man? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I want to
late?
ask
'Cause
you
we-
guys a
we
question.
started
The Florida
Started
Arts
late.
Network focuses on what type of arts? And what do you consider arts?
all the arts. Whether you're a painter, sculptor, dancer, singer, actor, producer, writer, whatever, any
Photographer,
genre.
cameraman,
Yeah.
musician, dancer.
Yeah,
Anything.
any
Mime.
genre of the arts. And, you know, I behind the scenes, the people that help make it happen, you know, like you guys, you know, you run this amazing studio, right? And you make stuff happen. I was talking to the director for Hard Rock Live, and I want to see if I can get him on the show. Yeah, buddy, I'm putting you on notice. I'm going to get you on this show.
Yeah.
To talk about, you know, well, what's it take to run a venue like that? You know, it's just insane. But yeah,
People don't realize what it takes, the details.
they don't.
I'm always in the back of my computer, but I can hear what goes on out here.
Yeah.
And they're surprised when I can come out and answer it or know what's going on. You hear everything. You have to. It's like being at home with your children. You hear everything no matter what room you're in. You know exactly what's going on in every
Yeah.
room. And you know you got to make it work.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to set up cameras, set up lights, set up your microphone, set up the chairs, set up the lighting. I mean,
Yeah, everything.
And then you have to coordinate 5 or 6 people
and
when
you got
you're
to go
doing
like
it,
5 or 6 people to do it.
so they don't run into each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not easy.
Oh, and on a film set, when you've got like 100 people running around, I call it organized chaos.
Yeah.
That's what
Actually,
I
that
call it.
painting behind Frank, that's what that's called too.
Is it really organized chaos?
That's what
Is
they've
what
named
that's
that
called?
painting.
There you
That's
go.
hysterical. Yes, that's a film set right there.
That's a
folks.
film set.
Right there, right there. That is a film set.
But I love the fact that you are able to give people an opportunity if you're a painter and this. You know, everybody does something. So how do you let people know you do it? I mean, you want to sell your art, you want to sell your pictures if you're a photographer. If you write a book, you want to sell books, right? Frank sells books. You want to be able to sell what it is that you do and passion and love. What's a better platform than to come on the Artist Loft and say, hey,
Yes.
let's get it
absolutely.
together and let's
This is who
figure out
I
how to
am,
do
and
that.
this is what I do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What
Yep,
better
yep.
way?
All right, now we're down to
Now we're down to
a
like
minute
minute and a
here. So, Dawn, Freddy, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much for being on the
Thank you.
show.
You did it right this time.
I did it right.
it
I'm a fast learner.
Fast learner.
You guys do a fantastic job. I just got to tell you.
Oh, thank you.
Really
Well,
do.
we have fun doing it.
That's the name
Now
of the
we
game.
know that's
Because
what's
they
important.
make it fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the
they
name
do.
of the game.
Yeah, they do.
I'm glad you guys are doing it every week. I'd like to expand even more on this stuff because I really, really, in my heart, believe Artist Loft is really needed, especially in Florida, especially for the young kids and the young minds. I really, really believe it's important. It really is.
Thank you so much. Yes, and remember, we are an arm of the Florida Arts Network. We are a 501c3, so your gifts to us are tax deductible.
Right. And for as little as $75, you can be a sponsor here on the show.
Yeah.
Just
Get a
contact us
shout
on
out.
our website, FloridaArtsNetwork.org, and hit that donate button on our GoFundMe, and
Yep. And
Pledge
if there's
for
any
the
other way
kids.
that you can help, with time, talk to us. We'll
Talk to us.
listen. All right. So, adieu, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining.
Vaya con Dios.
Thank you for watching the Artist Loft. Make sure to tune in next time for another great show. A show that was produced by AMP Media Productions and hosted by the Florida Arts Network with your hosts Richard Sossa and Frank A. Ruffolo.